Y'all know what it is, man. Terrell Thomas, These Urban Times, sitting down with the man himself. It's only right that we acknowledge kings. I heard a slogan back in the day where they say kings inspire kings, kings recognize kings, and you are a brother. And the way that you move out here, your respect for the game, your respect for others is impeccable. It's dope to sit down and chat with you. You know, we do a lot of talking via social media and things like that, see how each other is moving, and, you know, in the spaces in which we are in. But it's great once again to sit down and chat with you for a moment when you're not on the move and whatnot. It's dope to see
Thanks, and I'm happy to be here.
Laz, how you feel today, good sir?
I'm feeling fantastic, my brother. Thank you for having me. You know, I love your platform. Shout out to These Urban Times. You know, I sit back, unlike other artists, you know, I actually look, I watch, I look at the content, the media, the sports, whatever commentary that's on. Shout out to LiveHipHopDaily, everybody out in the air. You know, I got love. A lot of people don't know, like, you know, away from being an artist, sometimes you got to look at these, you know, reports, and people don't realize that we are what I tell people, the liaison to the streets and the culture of the hip hop community. So I salute you and applaud you, my brother, for what you do. Because for me, you're the analyst and you give us what's needed. I love everything you do.
Thanks, dog. That means a whole hell of a lot, man.
You already know.
We want to talk about you because you have some great things going on. You're from the Bronx, from South Bronx, from NYC. You know,
yes.
a lot of us view that the Mecca of hip hop, you know, where the foundation, where things began. So just kind of talk to me, let our audience know who may not be familiar with your music and your sound yet. Get them a little bit of information about your upbringing in the Bronx and how that's influenced your sound, your hustle, and the man you are today.
All right, definitely. Well, you know, the upbringing of the Bronx, shout out to the Bronx and all the hip hop pioneers, of course, that started in the Bronx. You know, unlike a lot of other artists, I started making music at an early age. I come from a musical dynasty. So even my parents, you know, and my forefathers were making music before me. I'm Cuban and Puerto Rican. You know, my Cuban family, I came and migrated from Cuba here to the Bronx, New York, and wound up making, you know, a legacy. Bronx Street, renamed after my uncle for the music, made music basically for the people of the Bronx, song called For My People of the Bronx that actually became famous. Then I grew up in the times of listening to Big Pun, Fat Joe, Terror Squad, of course, you know, then hearing everybody else, all the legends that came up, Melly Mel, you know, all the ones coming up. So KRS-One, you know, of course, BDMP. And then, you know, I got blessed. By the time I was 17 from making music myself, I met up with Cuban Link. You know, he introduced me, you know, to the squad and a couple other people. And I was able to finally meet Money Man and, you know, Fat Joe's brother and Thor and all those other people. And I was with a conglomerate for a little while, you know, coming up on music and all that until I actually learned the business. Then when I learned the business, you know, I decided to be able to come up and create my own conglomerate. And that's where I'm at to this day.
Okay. Give us a bit more insight, because you slipped some dope things in that I don't know if our audience really caught, as far as your background and your family's musical royalty background and whatnot. Give us a little more insight on that.
All right, so, you know, my uncle's name is Arsenio Rodriguez. You know, he's the most famous Cuban singer in all of Cuba. He was making music at the time before the color barrier was even created. This is when they were lynching Black people, when they actually were stopping us from being minorities and migrating into the United States and trying to accolade and become wealthy, rich, established businessmen. All right, and at this time, he came to the Bronx. He performed at a club called the Tropicana nightclub and created history. All right, him along with my other uncle, Chocolate Alfredo Almentros, you know, a street is renamed after him in Harlem in front of Taino Towers after him. Him and my uncle were both in the same band, both my uncles. And they wound up recreating the dynamic for Black Afro-Congo music here. So I grew up being part of a musical dynasty. They were called the Dons and Fathers of Salsa of their time in the Tres. So all I did was take the name and keep on the legacy. I'm part of a Don family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for breaking that down. I think that's important that our audience understand your history, your passion, and that as you mentioned, it's more than just your love for it. Like, you were bred into it, you were born into it.
Correct.
You dropped the project not too long ago.
Yes.
I want our audience to know, because it's doing great things on Billboard and things of that nature. So we definitely salute you to that.
Thank you.
Talk to me about Success in My Path.
All right, shout out Success in My Path, Volume 1. You know, shout out to Gorilla Tone from Success Clothing, one of the most famous clothing designers out of all of New York. Even has, you know, one of the biggest fashion shows. Not too many artists get to actually say they got sponsored by him. So I'm very grateful for that. Shout out to Amadeus from I Get Adam and Shady 45 for hosting the album. This album right here, I can tell you, Terrell, when These Urban Times and the fans and listeners, this was me giving y'all me. All right. Unlike other artists that are usually pressured and usually owned, I own myself. I own everything on here. I own all the beats. I own, you know, all the lyrics. I'm the person that co-produced. I mean, I did everything on here. You know, I even directed 2 videos. Like, it wasn't a game here. Like, I was in my most creative seat. I felt like Tom Cruise. I mean, in Passenger, you know what I mean? Like, I really felt good because a lot of people don't realize you get into this mode where, as an author, remember, you're feeding your people. And sometimes there's pressure on us as Black authors, as composers, as people that's looking to feed the people. We're trying to give them what they want to hear. So I kind of felt like on this album that I had my own creative space. I gave the world me. Most people I know usually give you a short amount of time of music. I gave them 22 different songs of music, and I felt like I touched every basis. And this album, I'm so blessed and thankful to the Lord, because sometimes you market and you target and put more money behind certain projects and feel that that's going to land towards your audience and demographic. It was kind of the opposite for me. You know what I mean? All the songs that I didn't actually think was actually going to gravitate towards everybody is what everybody gravitated towards. You know what I mean? So I'm very blessed and very shocked still at this moment.
Are there any particular records that stood out to you or stand out to you on the project? You know, whether when you were writing or composing the track that it meant a lot to you?
Yes, yes, definitely. I'm glad you asked that. One of the records there is definitely one record on there called One Life to Live.
Okay.
All right. And that record right there, you know, I feel like it speaks to everybody, not only just Black Lives Matter, not only to just us and our demographic of people, but to everyone in the world. And realize that at the end of the day, we only have one life to live. And this life that we have is precious, and not to take it for granted, and realize that the values and morals of life need to actually be stated more. And these messages need to be given positive through music, the same way that we give out a negative message.
Well said, dog. Well said. You do your thing writing music and composing music for albums and EPs, but you also do your thing freestyling and,
yes,
and doing your thing and kicking it off. As we see you wearing a crown right now.
Yes.
Freestyle Champ. And talk to me a little bit more about the Freestyle Champ, how you became the Freestyle Champ and where you are the Freestyle Champ.
Okay, salute. I wound up becoming the Freestyle Champ, you know, even throughout the Bronx, even throughout the city, through the world. People started to actually test me and put me on the spot where other writers would actually be there, and you would actually put something on and I would just compose it right off my mind. And obviously, you know, from most people that are in the music industry, you can tell when something is pre-written or something is, you know, premeditated. Like, you know, if we were on here live and I show people, I do something called Lyrical Pictionary. It's something I created where you name any person, place, event, and, you know, I rhyme with it and I continue to go on. Then I've went to multiple scales of platforms. Like I've been on SiriusXM, Shady 405, and Freestyle Live with no pen and pad, you know, in front of Lord C, in front of Amadeus. I freestyled on Jimmy Jazz and battled other people. I battled across, you know, Summer Jam, even 17 people. I've even battled females. And what wound up happening was they started to notice this guy doesn't ever recite the same rhymes. So how could you possibly always battle and always give me something fresh off the topic if you've never recited anything? So that's how they started knowing. So I'm actually the freestyle champion right now for Sprite, and for Jimmy Jazz right now.
Respect, dog. Damn, so much respect. Talk to me about where you view the current state of New York hip hop. Of course, I want to acknowledge, give a shout out and say rest in peace to DMX.
Yes.
You know, we lost the legend not too long ago. He'll be dropping a new album soon. So much love and respect to him. But we see, of course, a lot of the OGs doing their thing and redropping music and linking back up. We see a lot of the younger cats of the younger generation, more so our generation, yourself, who are doing their thing. What are your thoughts on the current state of NYC hip hop?
That's a great question. I feel that hip hop is on the brink of resurrecting itself. All right, and a lot of people don't realize that hip hop has never been gone. It's always been here. People just how can I say, people just are misguided. And the reason why I say it's misguided is because you have different forms of music. You have different masters of ceremony. You have that underground boom bap sound that's always here regardless of what. Now I feel like, shout out to Benny the Butcher, shout out to Griselda and all of them. They've put the boom bap sound back on the map, that it's selling globally. So what happens is target audiences don't realize that. For me, music is kind of like boxing. You know, there's different genres. You have different weight divisions and classes, just kind of like rock. You look, you have soft rock, you have hard rock. People don't realize it, but, you know, we had a conversation the other day. Shout out to my brother, the infamous Amadeus. You know, we were talking about how hip hop should have its categories, you know? You have drill, you have melodic drill, you have this. So at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, hip hop is in a state of recreating itself. And the reason why, rest in peace to all the legends, rest in peace to DMX, Black Rob, Fred the Godson. You know, I actually have a tribute record with Hocus 4/5 coming out for DMX. All the proceedings will be going out to his family, you know, to be on all platforms next week. I'll make sure I send it to you so you can hear it, my brother, and to the world. And, you know, I just feel like right now, what's happening is that these OGs and the people that have been here, we're losing them now. And people are starting to realize that. And they're starting to realize now that hip hop is forcing you and life is forcing you ahead of time to give these actual legends their flowers ahead of time. So now that we have to give these legends their flowers ahead of time, what happens is the new generation, which is what they call the Generation X right now, because they feel that we haven't created anything, unlike everyone else. Right now, the music right now basically is opening doors, but people are incorrect. The reason why is because if you listen to a lot of the drill form and sound of music now, it actually has a message. Some of them have a message. You understand what I'm saying? Some of them don't, but most of them do. And the thing is that you have to be able to get under the exterior of the hip hop world and not be a closed mind. Because remember, at one time, hip hop was a closed mind to a gravitational sound. And I don't agree with that. You understand? Rest in peace to MF Doom. You understand? One of the biggest masters and one of my favorite artists in the world eliminated that on how the artist should look, or what you feel that the artist should sound like. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, it's at a resurrecting state, but it's never left at the same time.
Okay, that's well said, man. What you working on right now? We know that your project, you know, that you dropped the project, excuse me, not too long ago, but you always in the mix, always in the studio, always working. So what are you currently working on and preparing to drop?
Well, currently right now, I'm working on my next album right now to be called The Life of a Don. Away from that, I have, you know, already 3 or 4 singles out already. I have maybe like 75 records already recorded, honestly, that nobody has ever heard, like just ready to go. So I'm one of those where my music, when you ask my sound, I feel that I give you a cinematic form of music. And what I mean by cinematic, it's almost like a motion picture. The reason why is because it's so graphic and real that you can relate to it, yet I'm multi-dimensional, multi-versed, because I give you English, I give you Spanish, I give you drill, I give you all of that. Plus I ghostwrite for other people, I write R&B. And then, you know, a lot of people are not expecting that coming from one master. So I've learned to master all of these different sections. And I rhyme to almost every beat. A lot of times I rhyme to beats that are offspring that I don't hear people rhyme to, like Beethoven, like samples from, you know, other places like Baywatch, weird things that people I normally don't hear from, but that's just me. Away from that, I'm a huge reader. So I always like to read and kind of like process what I put into the music. I'm into that more lyrical, higher form, celestial rap.
Okay. I respect the hell out of that cut. You know, I can't sit down and speak with you and not ask you something about what's going on in the world of sports, the world of the NBA. With you being
shout out to the Knicks right now. Come on.
With you being in New York, the Knicks are buzzing right now. The Nets are buzzing. What's the energy like as far as basketball in New York City?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I think everybody's right now in a state of shock.
Okay.
I mean, we're in a state of shock. We're like, wow, you got Brooklyn there, you know what I mean? Then you got New York right then and there. You understand? Now, let's be honest. From sports, everybody's been talking about it. We've been waiting on the humongous New York basketball comeback. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody's been waiting on it. Even people I know that aren't Knicks fans. I'm still a Knicks fan. You know what I mean? I always have been. My favorite player happened to be, you know, Starks. You know, everybody got their play. I like Starks in Houston. You know what I mean? After that, it came Patrick Ewing for me, but I've always been John Starks. That's just always been my favorite player. Okay. As far as the Knicks go.
You say him and Allen Houston?
Yeah, him and Allen Houston. I loved Allen Houston's 3-point shot. I don't care what nobody says. That for me, he was just always that guy for me. You know what I mean? That go-to guy in the corner. So my thing is I loved how we came up, but I've always been an all New York fan, even when it comes to all other sports. Now, am I shocked? Yes. I'm very shocked because remember, people don't realize we put a lot of money into New York, into the salary cap of having these players. All right? It's not like we haven't had some of the best players in the world. We've had some of the best players in the world, even recently, even before we got to this shit. You know, we even had Melo, we had everybody. So you got to stop and think to yourself, what was the void that was stopping us from excelling? And I think that the void that was stopping us from excelling was that everybody has such a high expectation on how the stars of the team would play that they didn't let the curriculum flow. And now that it flew by itself when they didn't think it was actually going to work, it worked.
What are your thoughts on Julius Randle? Do you feel like he should get some more MVP talk and stuff like that? Or have you been pleased with what you've seen from him?
I mean, me and you both know, I mean, he could get the MVP and the GOAT talk. But remember, if he gets the MVP and the GOAT talk, it's about remaining consistent like that and remaining humble. Most GOATs at the end of the day, you know, don't even praise themselves. They usually get chosen as the GOAT because, you know, that's just part of their regular routine. So do I think he's a GOAT and that, you know, he should get MVP talk? Yes. I wanted to see at the end of the day how he manages after they give him those props. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. We're going to see because the playoffs is right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Right, whatever's going to happen is going to happen soon. I want to ask you, man, before I let you go, we're going to wrap up soon, but what else are you working on? The summertime is right around the corner. Memorial Day weekend is not too far away. It's getting warmer. It's getting nice. We're seeing things begin to open up a lot more across our nation. So what are you working on right now?
Away from that, they'll see me on, you know, a tour. We're doing a tour wide across on the range right now. Away, you'll hear a new record coming out from me featuring me and Kitty called Swipes, produced by DJ Verdict. And you'll hear the latest record coming out with me and Melly from Tory Lane's, you know, actual camp song called Bye Bye Bye. So we got some big summer records coming out. And away from that, I'll be planning to put out a mixtape out for free, actually out to the world that I call, you know, my give back to the summer.
Okay. Could you please let our audience know if they're not following you already, one, how they can follow you on social media, all the platforms. Once again, you're very active. You interact with your fans and things like that. I think that's extremely dope. Also, let them know how they can check out your music, whether they want to purchase your music, stream your music. Let them know how they can stay in contact with you.
Of course. So you can follow me first. I got everybody to go to my website. That's www.topdonempire.com. All right, check it out. You know, make sure you get in tune, create a profile, get part of the nation. Get one-on-one lives with me, get updates on my music, everything that's on there, all hyperlinks, everything that's there. Away from that, on all platforms, YouTube, everywhere, is Lazaris The Top Don. I'll spell it. That's Lazaris. The word the, no ebonics, but rest in peace to Big L. And then afterwards, Top Don, TOPDON. And you'll be able to find me on everything, on all platforms. Get in tune, look at everything that we're doing throughout the city, movements, working with the community. As far as when my music goes, you know, there's a hyperlink on my Instagram that you go right under that clicks you on either to my website or all the social media platforms to get all the music I have out. Even on Spotify, you'll find the Lazaris The Top Don. Look and stream my newest record called I'm Coming, featuring Cory Gunz and Young Money. You already know. We're just out here, you know, we're making sure we push out for so much. And when you look under the category, you'll see all the music I have, y'all.
Lazaris, thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, man. The grind is inspiring. Like I say, I love seeing you in the mix. I jump on social, see you doing things, see you shining, seeing you continuing to grow in your craft. It's amazing to see, dog. We're gonna sit down again real soon, get you in the ad so we can hear a few of them bars. So we'll be chatting with you soon, man. Be safe out here.
Definitely. You too, King. Appreciate you. Shout out to These Urban Times and the platform.
Thank you, man.